Welcome to Yoga Teacher Journeys, your podcast for all things yoga and mindful living. I'm Claire.
And I'm Bianca, and we're two yoga teachers sharing the insights and wisdom we've picked up along our journey so far.
Whether you're thinking about teacher training or exploring yoga as a way of life, join us weekly for inspiring conversations.
Let's go on this journey together. So when did you arrive in Thailand then?
So I arrived in Thailand only like 3 days before the course, something like that, 3 or 4 days. So I flew in directly from London into Bangkok and stayed 1 or 2 nights there, 2 nights I think, and then flew over to Koh Samui and then took the ferry. What about you? How far in advance were you in Thailand?
Oh, wow. I had like crazy adventures in that. I was there for 3 weeks before.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, and I remember when I was booking my flight, it was kind of like if I left literally a few days before the yoga teacher training, I think it was because it was Easter. The flights were crazy expensive. So I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll just go out there 3 weeks earlier with myself and do a bit of traveling and stuff beforehand. So
Yeah.
was it 2 or 3 weeks? I can't remember. I've kind of lost track, but I was there a good amount of time before. So I think I flew like the 16th of March to Bangkok and I spent a night in Bangkok with myself. And again, it's the first time I've ever traveled really on my own. So it was a lot. I've done traveling in the past, but I'd never been that far on my own just with myself. I wasn't meeting anyone in Bangkok or anything like that. It was just be in Bangkok. So I remember that. And then I went to Krabi from there. So I got a flight to Krabi. Yeah, got a flight to Krabi. Had like a week in Krabi where I stayed in this really beautiful like homestay where they had this most amazing yoga studio. It was so beautiful. So as part of like my stay, I was doing yoga as well there. So I was doing yoga every day and that was so amazing. I met some really nice people there as well. So like it was a great place to like slow down and connect. And I was life coaching. So I had my laptop with me and I was doing like life coaching calls in the evenings, which actually worked out really well with the time difference as well. It was quite nice. I started reading some of the books that they recommended, the pre-reading.
Oh, did you?
Giant book called.
That's so funny that you did the pre-reading because I didn't do any of it. I just didn't have time.
This one, it's called Asana, Pranayama, Mudra, Bandha.
Yes,
right?
the yoga Bible basically
Yoga
tells
Bible.
you all.
Yeah.
It's the Bible.
Yeah. So I remember I went and I was like getting myself coffee and I was starting to read the book and I was practicing my yoga every day. And it was like I was getting so excited to really like just embody this whole thing. So that was amazing. And then I went on from there to Koh Lanta. Got ferried to Koh Lanta, met some more people in Koh Lanta. That's where I had an accident. I had a snorkeling accident and I then wasn't able to practice yoga for 2 weeks. And
That's
it was
really tough.
And then I was like, well, so my expectation of, I'm going to be going on this yoga teacher training and going to be doing yoga every day. Everything's going to be amazing. Like I remember the first few days actually at One Yoga, I couldn't really do yoga properly because I had stitches all in my foot. I had to go backwards and forwards to the medical center. That we could probably do a whole nother episode on the medical center.
Really?
Do you know how many people are in the medical center?
That is true.
Yeah, it's very true. So yeah, Koh Lanta, where did I go from there? From Koh Lanta to Koh Samui. I had 4 nights in Koh Samui, and then from Koh Samui on to Koh Phangan. And then I was in Koh Phangan a week before the yoga teacher training. So already quite a lot had happened.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like going through a breakup. Like there was so many things. Like it was a big time, a really, really big time. So that's kind of how I ended up then. I was on Koh Phangan a week before, and luckily I was with some friends, so we did quite a lot of exploring of the island that week before, and it was so nice because obviously then once you start your yoga teacher training, you are, I'm going to say stuck, but you're very much in that one area.
Definitely. No, definitely. And I think it's something to be said about the island actually, that there are 2 sides to it. You have more the party side of the island where they've got the full moon like parties and things like that. And then you have the other side, which is a lot more spiritual, where you'll have loads of workshops and all the really cute like coffee shops, ecstatic dances available to you, Friday night drum circles on the beach. So it's like completely different vibes, isn't it? So it's nice that you got to see the whole island. I actually stayed on the other side of the island for 2 nights before we started the training. Got to experience a little bit of the other side to it, which was fun. So it's funny because you were getting ready spiritually for the practice and I was getting ready in different ways.
And how nice is that though? Just everyone kind of coming together. And the week before our teacher training, we've been all over the place. People have come from everywhere. Like, I mean, obviously, I was very fortunate to have been able to spend that week before in Thailand to kind of like, because the energy is so different over there. You do have to kind of like settle into it. But yeah, Koh Phangan is just beautiful. Like, luckily I was with a friend who rode a scooter, because this is what I said, next time I'm in Southeast Asia, I'm riding a bike.
Yes, we're going to take lessons together, aren't we?
Yes, we're going to take lessons together before we're back over there, for sure. So yeah, it was really just, it's so easy to get around as well, isn't it, if you ride a bike?
Definitely. No, it is. And actually, when you are at One Yoga for the training, you don't necessarily need a bike because, as you said, you're so immersed into it. You are walking distance from the main sort of street with all the cafes and restaurants, and you're at the beach already. So you don't need it for that. But maybe, at the weekend, although we only had a Sunday off, you might want to have a little roam around.
I just remember being so tired.
Yeah.
Gosh, but anyway, that's another episode. There's so much to talk about. Oh my God. I mean, I was just trying to think about, I can't remember all the name of the beaches that I explored in that week before, but wow, it was just that island. There's so much there. There's really, really so much there. And it's such a different vibe from other areas in Thailand. That's what I really like about Thailand as well. Like everywhere you go, there's a totally different vibe, depending on what you want and where you're at in your journey and things like that. So yeah, everyone was very welcoming and free, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
So what did you do the day before the yoga teacher training? So we started on a Sunday. The welcome dinner was on a Sunday, wasn't it?
It was. So the Saturday, I was staying in this really cute hostel on the other side of the island, and it had the most amazing view on this really like huge like long beach, which actually the beach where they have the full moon party. But I actually did a bit of yoga, and that was really beautiful because I was, with the jet lag and stuff, I was up really early, and so I got onto the mat, did some yoga, filmed it a little bit as well, just to capture the moment, have that memory too. So that was really nice. And then I think I just kept things pretty chilled and met up with some friends and took the boat, one of the little like fisherman boats across to another area, and enjoyed like going out and some music and stuff. So it was like the last moment really out of the bubble, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. How about you?
Well, can you remember how you felt?
I remember how I felt. I was excited, but I was also almost like a quiet excitement that I didn't want to let myself really be too excited. I didn't know what to expect. I almost felt a bit numb, I think. So much had happened for me to arrive there at that point in time that it just, it was hard to feel actually too much.
Yeah, I remember how I felt. I remember feeling so apprehensive, and I remember my mind was going like, right, I need to go and check where One Yoga is. So I had to go and walk there just to make sure, because I was staying off campus, like I said before. So it was kind of like, I need to go and make sure I know where it is. And I was like, I kept having to like, I need to go and do this. And I could feel that there was a lot of energy in my body, and I was very in my head. I remember this. And I remember that Sunday, it was the Sunday, wasn't it, that we started? the friend that I was with, he'd gone on to the next place that he was going to, and I had the morning with myself, and I hadn't been with myself for a long time because I'd met people kind of like along the way, and I remember sitting in Cookies.
Oh yes.
They do the best coffee there, it's so good. And I remember, honestly, it was a moment for me where I was just like, what am I doing with my life? It was a bit like that. I'm on Koh Phangan, about to do teacher training. I can't even do any yoga because of my foot. And I think I was on my third almond croissant or something. And I remember like crying into my croissant.
Oh
It was
wow.
it was a day where I was like, what am I doing? What, like, it was a bit like I could have easily like been like, I'm not going to do this.
Oh wow.
I was in that space.
Interesting. I was just kind of going with the motions and not really thinking too much, to be honest. That just kind of, yeah. And also, as we mentioned last time, I'd booked it in December. And so it was always going to happen. It was there. I was going to do it. I was going to get it done. And I had like a very strong gut feeling that this was the right thing for me to do.
Mhm.
So I guess I didn't have that
Well, see,
same experience.
I'd had that, like, yoga for me, it's been a whisper for years, right? But then I think
Mm,
when you actually come, when it's actually then you're doing it, it's kind of like, am I actually ready for this? Because it is a lot
mm,
of work. And then I think with the few weeks that I had before the training, so much had happened in that time already that I was just like, I have done enough healing to last me a while. Like, I just don't know if I've got any more energy left. And the thought of like 4 weeks intensive, I don't know who I'm going to be by the end of it.
true,
I
true.
think I was like trying to cling on to something
Yeah.
and there was nothing to cling on to.
Mm, absolutely. No, that makes sense. And so that was the day before. And so how did you
No,
feel
that was the
on
day. That was
the
like
day of?
that was that Sunday morning. It was very
Wow.
like I remember it was like full meltdown. I was crying in the coffee shop.
Oh, B.
But over that week before, I'd done probably quite a lot of crying in coffee shops. Like there'd been a lot of emotion coming up. And I think
Right.
it was just a very confronting time, like a very
Mm,
confronting time. But you've kind of got to go there.
you
Like
do. You do
otherwise these
sometimes.
things are going to block you. So yeah, that was what I did in the daytime. I was the almond croissants from Cookies are really good. But I think where I was like so like distracting, I didn't even really like, yeah, it was kind of it was a funny old day.
That's so interesting. I mean, for me, I had to take a taxi from the other side of the island and check into my accommodation. So I
Right.
felt really like that's a different experience to you because I guess you're already in your hotel.
Yeah, I'd been in the hotel for a week and I knew I was going to be staying there for 5 weeks. Yeah.
Right. Whereas for me, I really arrived at One Yoga. I had all my bags and my things, and I did the check-in. I got to see my room. My room was like one of the closest rooms as well to the yoga shala, so I was literally living in the shala at that
Oh,
point.
it was
I
so
could
beautiful though, wasn't it there?
so beautiful, and from my balcony, I could see into the shala, and between classes, what was so special as well is I could see the teachers there getting ready and all of that, and it was really nice to be kind of connected in that way. But I checked into Bon Yoga and then walked around and bumped into different people from the course and met them already. So before the dinner, I'd already kind of met a couple of people, had a few brief conversations, went down to the beach, swam there as well,
Oh,
a little
nice.
bit with some of the people there. So it was very much a sense of arriving. And then when I got to the dinner, I already felt like I knew a couple of people,
Mm.
which was quite nice.
Yeah.
How did you feel
Oh,
arriving at the
it's
dinner?
totally different vibe, right? Because it was how many of us were staying off campus? It was me, Emily, who else was there? There was a couple of others, wasn't there, that were staying off campus?
A few, yes,
Yeah, but the majority of people are on site.
campus. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it kind of felt like I was already kind of super emotional that day. And then I remember arriving and everyone was staying in this beautiful place. My hotel was okay, but it was just okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, and this is the thing with the hotels in Thailand. you know, they are what they are, you know, it's Thailand. So some of them are super, super cheap and really, really beautiful. And then others, yeah, they're kind of hit and miss, aren't they? But I mean, it was fine, but it was nowhere near as nice as yours.
Yeah.
You know, but then that's what you get for booking late, you know?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So I remember arriving and it was kind of, I did feel like an outsider.
Okay.
I did remember, like, because you obviously, you guys, you know, you'd arrived at One Yoga, whereas I'm like, you know, I'm not staying here, but I'm doing the course. So it did feel different.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was still very okay, but just totally different experiences.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so how was that dinner for you? We weren't sitting together, so I can't
Uh,
remember.
so I
Um,
think, I was on the table as you walk in, like left-hand corner at the back there. I sat over there. I was in that corner and there was four of us on the table and I just remember the conversations. We went really deep really quickly. And I was like, okay, these people, we're all here for a reason, right?
yeah,
We're all trying to connect with ourselves in a deeper way. We're all trying to find meaning from something. So there's a story behind every single person here. And I found at that opening meal, the conversation went deep really, really quickly. And then when you're like, oh, this is going to be so beautiful. Like when you just feel it was such a safe, vulnerable space where
mm-hmm.
we're fully able just to kind of show up as they were. And so that those first conversations that I had, I just remember them being, yeah, they were really special. Like it felt safe straight away.
That's so good though, isn't it? It's
Mm.
such an amazing feeling to have that immediately as well with the group of people you were with.
Yeah.
I think mine was a bit more on the surface. It was a bit more like, where are you from? What are you doing? But it wasn't that deep that I can particularly remember, to be honest. Um, but the food was amazing.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
I remember the mango sticky rice at the end, the different
Yes,
colored rice. Oh,
we
I
didn't
don't
get that for
remember.
the rest of the month.
No, so make sure you enjoy that and get double servings in the opening meal. What did we have to eat though? I don't remember the actual meal because we had so many meals there, like, and it was all delicious.
It was it's hard. Yeah, you're right. I know they went the extra mile, and
Mm.
I think as you said, the mango sticky rice is definitely
Okay.
memorable there. But I think generally the food there was really
Ah,
lovely
so
and
good.
wholesome and just exactly what we needed, really. It was so good to have a routine with the food, and sometimes they would bake us cakes as well. That was lovely. Um, but yeah, no, it was a good meal, and I think
Yeah.
it was a really nice touch to have that at the beginning to feel like bringing everyone
Welcome.
together before the first day.
And a
Yeah,
few of the teachers did like a little speech, didn't they? An introduction and things.
yeah,
So that was really nice. But I remember we didn't stay for too long because obviously on the Monday we knew we had to be there probably like 6 a.m. for meditation, right? And it was the first day. So I remember we kind of all had dinner and then we kind of then went back. And I remember that lonely walk back to my hotel. And I was like, babe, why are you staying off campus? I would recommend to anyone if you can to stay on site. Like I think it's such
definitely.
a beautiful part of the experience if you can really like immerse yourself in it. Like I mean, I was fine, and probably with where I was at with everything that had going on with my foot and all the other stuff that I was trying to process, being out of the campus maybe was actually quite good because I was able to then detach a little bit as well. So pros and cons to
Definitely. So, how did you feel once you got back? Was that a difficult night? Did you sleep well?
I think I got back and I cried. Like I think it was like there was so much emotion, and it was like I'm so excited for this. These people are amazing, and it's just like there's so much coming up. I can't remember if I spoke to when I got back. Did I speak to people from the UK? Because obviously with the time differences and stuff like that, it was very much in the evening we'd connect with people back home.
Yeah,
So I probably called my family and spoke to them for a bit, and then tried to get an early night because obviously we were up so early the next day. So yeah, that's the kind of lead up and the dinner and the feels to two very different experiences of the same thing,
yes,
which is really cool.
absolutely.
And it's so nice to reflect. So nice to
Yeah,
reflect. So much emotion, so much build up, so much unknown. Like so much
Yeah.
unknown. And look at us now. Let's just summarize then. So summarize that kind of get into one yoga. Any tips or anything, any advice you'd give to anyone?
Oh wow. So for me, it would be prior to booking any teacher training, have a think about, whether you would like to be on a campus, off campus, depending on your needs, maybe how you're feeling, because I think that will have a definite impact on your experience. If you do want to be on campus, do try and book ahead a little
Yes.
bit so that you can get the space. And then I think what I hadn't done is I hadn't walked around sort of that area and kind of explored it that much. So I think it is nice to be able to do that a little bit, get your bearings. You are going to be there for a month, but you are going to be fully immersed as well. So arriving a couple of days early, I think is a good idea, just to get a sense for the space. And then be comfortable to open up to people, because everyone is there with their own journeys, with a purpose, and they're probably also going through something.
Yeah, and you're not
On some
alone.
level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're not alone. Yeah.
And I think quite quickly you realize that you're not on your own as we start,
Yeah.
like, kind of going into this second week, which we can talk about next time, but everyone's got stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, just know that you're very much not on your own. It's a very human thing. And it's actually a very good it's a nice time for it all to come to the surface, because you are in this bubble and it's so safe and it's so healing, and it's actually really beautiful. And when you're at home, you can quite easily distract yourself from these things. So lean in. I would say lean in. Yeah, but from like make sure you have your anchor if you need to come back out again, if you know what I mean. So maybe that phone call back to people in the UK, or just making sure that if things do feel a lot, you've got little safety features or safety points throughout your week. But yeah, in the lead up, it's okay to feel all of the things. I think make space for, like, I was crying into my croissant, but then I was also really excited and happy. So I was sad, excited. I was feeling everything all at once, and it was a lot. So be prepared to feel.
Definitely. Don't go to yoga teacher training and think that you're not going to feel. I mean, there's a thing, isn't there? It's like week 2 is where all of the emotions come out and everyone has a little mini meltdown, and we definitely experience that.
We can talk about that on the next pod.
Yeah.
We'll leave this one here, I think. So I mean, we could continue, but
yeah, more to come.
Yeah. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.